What's going on YouTube? It's Tej and friends back for the Hurry Up Offense here to preview Week 11 with you. And as always, as I mentioned, I am joined by my two fantastic co-hosts. We start with our shaman of sharp bets, JT Creed. How's it going, man?
Going great. Let me tell you, dude, super hyped up about the win on Sunday against the Bills. It was insane. Justin Jefferson made one of the craziest catches I've ever seen. So yeah, feeling great about the NFL right now, man.
And 9 catches with an NGS catch probability sub 50%. One of the craziest games I've ever seen. And of course, I'm joined by our prophet of plus money plays, Mason Cannon. How's it going, man?
It's going, man. Raiders officially on the banned list after last week. Definitely done with them. But yeah, man, like JT said, I moving and grooving. I like where we're at this week. Pat's coming back here after this 5 weeks. So we are ready to keep moving and ready for some more football, man.
And of course, I am the one who knocked 3-1 in my last 3 weeks of locks of the week. So been hot. Hopefully, going to continue that luck this week. Let's go ahead and jump into our Thursday night preview. It's the Tennessee Titans heading to Lambeau. And JT, I kind of want to start with you. One, because you're just this massive Aaron Rodgers believer. And Stan, did it kind of look a little different this Sunday? Did he roll back the clock at all? I have some thoughts on this one, but what did you think of Green Bay this past weekend? And what do you think about Thursday against the Titans?
He had a decent game. He really wasn't asked to do a whole lot. It was kind of just ground and pound. Was a little bit easier game plan for him to manage. And I've seen some takes on this. It's like, this is what happens when other players on the Packers make the plays they're supposed to make. They win a game. Like, that's just kind of how it's going to be. Unfortunately, there's not, like, you can be an absolute demon of a quarterback, but unless you're running like a 4-4 like Justin Fields or Lamar Jackson, like, you can't win it on your own. It doesn't matter who you are. It's just not
Tom Brady in 2019, right? I mean, that's why he left New England.
Yeah, I mean, you have to have, at the end of the day, somebody's got to catch the ball that you put in the air. So, you saw what happens when other people stepped up, that kind of stuff. That being said, the Packers roster is still weak, man. Titans are looking better every week, in my opinion. If you look at the Packers, I did some research just real quick before hopping on. Packers are giving up the 7th most yards in the league on the ground on just a yards per game basis. That's not a great matchup against the Tennessee Titans. Obviously, they just want to run the ball anyway. I think you guys said that the line started at 2.5 for the Packers. At that point, wouldn't have touched it. Now that you can get the hook at 3.5 for the Titans, I love the Titans plus 3.5. I could see it being a field goal type game where the Packers come out with it on top by 3. So I kind of like the fact that we get the hook there.
Yeah, and I'm with you. And honestly, at 2.5, if I had played this Monday when I normally put out my early bets of the week, I thought about it, but I didn't know if I was ready to buy into Green Bay just yet. I wish I had done it, especially now that I know it's 3.5 for Tennessee or for Green Bay to lay that. So hindsight's 2020. But the reason we're kind of mentioning it, just in case somebody is like, why is 3 so important? It's just 1 point. 15% of games end in a 3-point difference. The next highest, key number is 7, and 9% of games come there. So it's the number 3 is key, and it's not really even that close. So I think because of that, I'm with you on the Titans plus 3.5. If I'm going to bet, the line here, I think really the route is going to be Green Bay money line, and then maybe like Derrick Henry rush attempts in the same game parlay, or Aaron Jones anytime touchdown, something like that to get it back to minus 110, maybe even plus money. I'll leave that though to my press money profit. Mason, give me your thoughts on this one.
Yeah, man. And I think last week was the first week Derrick Henry wasn't able to run for over 100 yards. Correct me if I'm wrong.
It had been a stretch of like 4 games or something like that. Yeah.
Right. And then with JT saying the Packers aren't very good against the run, I do like that Derrick Henry prop. I think they just pound the rock like they have been, ever since week 1. But yeah, 3.5 that hook, man. I'm not sure. I do like the Titans here. I think. I know the Packers are coming off that strong win last weekend, but maybe they're starting to figure some stuff out. I don't know. I'm not too sure. I'm not too convinced. So I think I might take Titans 3.5. I don't know.
So I'm looking up the Derrick Henry rush prop, and it's relatively high. It's not quite the 23.5 it was last week. It's 22.5, but it is plus 100. So last week it's minus 110. This week it's plus 100. I at least like the odds boost they're giving you, or a little bit of a bump, but also they're taking it down one. I could totally see this being a game, especially if Tennessee wins the coin toss that they elect to receive. The only reason it didn't hit that rushing prop against Kansas City was because the Chiefs killed 8 minutes that first quarter, and the game was shortened because of that. So especially if the Titans can, get the opening kickoff. I love that prop, and it's something I'll probably play. So something to look out for there. But to kind of, the reason why I think Green Bay wins this game, even though I do think it will be close, I want to talk about Christian Watson and how different, he was used. And I mean, obviously, like 3 touchdowns, like need I say more? And you kind of hit on it, JT, when players execute, right? But first 3 passes of the game included 2 Christian Watson drops. And the biggest thing I noticed, and I'm not the person to say this, but instead of having him run a lot of vertical routes, a lot of goes where he's having to turn his head completely and work his shoulders towards a quarterback and reel it in, he's running a lot of deep crossers, and they're doing basically what teams do with tight ends, who are just more athletic than linebackers and taking advantage of their speed, running away from someone who's slower. And Christian Watson's 6'3" and runs in the 4.3s. He's a freak. So doing that same thing and limiting how much he's having to turn his body and move his head, it paid dividends. 3 touchdowns. So now looking at a Tennessee defense that has found ways to scrap and be competitive, I don't know if we'll see that again. I'm definitely not thinking he's going to get 3 touchdowns, but can Christian Watson do this 2 weeks in a row? If so, I start to feel a whole lot better about this Green Bay team. Eventually we'll get Randall Cobb back and things will start to kind of settle into place. But that's the big thing I'm keeping my eye on for this one. But it sounds like we're all kind of with the Titans when it comes to the spread. But I think I'll end up cooking up an SGP with Packers money line. What you got?
Yeah, one thing to note, just did some research on the weather because I know the weather's going to be pretty cold just across the nation pretty much. Mm-hmm. In Green Bay, I just looked it up on Thursday night. The high is 29 for the day. So imagine trying to tackle Derrick Henry when you can't feel your hands. Sounds terrible, but I don't know. Just something to note. They're in Green Bay, so obviously a little home field advantage. They're obviously used to it. But man, the thought of tackling Derrick Henry in that weather, it sounds terrible.
Dude, also with that, dude, I don't know if I trust Tannehill now. Like, I feel like it's going to be a wuss, like with the cold weather. I don't know.
Perfect segue for me. Ryan Tannehill has just not been the guy that he once was, at his peak with Tennessee, where he was this really efficient guy who kind of the offense complimented him in all the best ways. And now he's just not that. And they don't have a number one. They don't have an AJ Brown. They don't have that guy who can win a game for you. So I'm looking at that, weather report, and especially like a secondary like Jair Alexander included, who will make plays the line of scrimmage. I have a hard time thinking Joe Barry's not putting 7 or 8 in the box every play and saying, "Hey, run at us, go ahead," and have Ryan Tannehill beat us. So the total's kind of low at like 41.5. Maybe the under's the move there, but honestly, hearing that weather report makes me kind of want to flip to Green Bay at 3.5. But again, I'll probably do SGP and go Packers money line, just because I think the Packers, why not sell out against the run then and force Tannehill to beat you up the top. Anyways, let's move on to our 1 p.m. game for the Sunday slate of action. And this one hits close to home for Mason. So I'll start it with you. It's the second battle of the year between these 2 teams. It's the Jets heading to New England. Both teams coming off a bye. What do you think of this one, Mace?
Yeah, honestly, it might be a surprise as a Pats fan. I think I like the Jets getting the points here. I don't know, more of a gut feeling. I haven't really looked into this game much, even though I should as a Pats fan. But dude, I don't know, Mac Jones. I don't know, man. Have not seen much this year, and it's just frustrating to watch. But dude, the Jets, they look good. Their defense looks good. Sauce Gardner, he's gonna look good. He's gonna lock up whoever he's guarding on that field. So I don't know. I think this is an interesting spot for the Jets this week. I think they win outright, but I definitely like how they get in the 3.5 here.
Yeah, this and actually a lot for the first 4 games we're going to talk about. I actually like the team getting points in all those, and that'll change once you get to our Monday night preview. But kind of like the Titans, and I'm definitely going to do it with the Vikings game and then the Chargers game. I think the Jets are a ladder that I'm going to play this week. Take the 3.5 points, money line, and then maybe push out the 2.5. I don't think they win by more than a field goal, but baby ladder there. These 2 teams have identical strengths, right? Good defenses, head coaches that know how to have a team ready. Especially this season, Robert Saleh has really captivated that locker room. I think it's going to come down to these quarterbacks, right? I mean, it's Zach Wilson versus Mac Jones, and it wasn't pretty the first time. I might regret saying this in a week's time. I'm buying Zach Wilson this week. I have never had those words escape my mouth, but I think this is the week he gets a prove-it win against Bill Belichick. And, he's the difference between those 2 this year, at least. Mac Jones just looked bad. Zach Wilson's at least been able to engineer, like against Pittsburgh, 2 10-plus play drives in the 4th quarter. The late drive 2 weeks back forgot against 2, but almost double-digit long play drive in the 4th quarter. Like, he's just found ways to kind of keep the offense on the field late in games. And I think that's enough of an edge where I'll go the Jets getting points. Also, it's a 50-50 game, and in that spot, I'll take the team getting points. But long tangent aside, I think I'm with you, Mace. I think I'm going to go with the Jets here. Even though they're in Foxborough, Bill Belichick has his number against young quarterbacks. I think Zach Wilson changes that at least a smidge this week. JT, what do you think?
Yeah, I see this game as kind of what you said, right? Two good defenses playing against each other. But to me, I see both of them coming in with the same game plan, really. Control the clock, kind of
On the
manage.
ball, win with defense.
Yeah, run the ball, win with defense. And at that point, to me, it comes down to which quarterback do you think is going to make the least amount of mistakes. So I kind of lean Pats as far as the money line, as far as winning the game. I think Zach Wilson's just a little bit more prone to mistakes. He's also more prone to the highlight play too. So you kind of get the push and pull with him. But I think he might make one more mistake, that kind of thing. But 3.5, I like. I like the Jets getting 3.5. Just on the implied spreads that are small with an implied over under that's small. The value is on the points because there's not going to be that many points scored in the game. So any points that you get for a team or whatever is going to kind of be added value. Plus 3.5 when the total is 55. That's nothing. So that's kind of, I don't know, the way I'd play it betting wise is going to be the Jets, but I don't know. I think the Pats might sneak it out with the money line. I think you could bet it two ways. You could go Pats money line, and then if you think that Zach Wilson doesn't make mistakes and he does have a couple crazy highlight plays, and the Pats have to start getting a little greedy, they have a turnover. I think you either play Pats money line or you push the Jets out at -3 or something like that, -2.5. Kind of get a little extra value there if you think that Zach Wilson's not going to make as many mistakes.
Yeah, and I totally get where you're coming from. I would argue that Mac Jones, after the first 8 games of last year, has not been this safe, sound decision-making quarterback.
Not even close.
He's supposed to be coming out of
I'm not a Mac Jones fan at all, to be honest. I don't think he's great, but
I haven't been this year, so I'm right there with you, man.
I mean, he's been rough. I mean, he's just not been the same guy, again, that we saw in the first 8 games last year. So I think that's another, interesting note. When you look at these two teams in their skill position groups, even without a Breece Hall, I'd lean the Jets there just because Garrett Wilson, by far and away, over anybody the Pats can throw as their number 1 wide receiver. I'll take Garrett Wilson there any day of the week. I think there's a little bit more explosiveness maybe baked into that just because I like that skill position group. So maybe that's where maybe those big plays are engineered by Zach Wilson. But, I think this game is tough. And like you were saying, it's 3.5 points. I think the move is one way or another, just because this game probably ends in a field goal. The total's 38. So 21-18, excuse me. That's 39 points. That feels like the sweet spot. New England, gets the game-winning field goal.
It was 22-17 last game.
Yeah. So essentially the same thing I said, just with 1 point going to one team and taking away from the other. So I think that's going to be the move. But this is going to be an interesting game because if Zach Wilson wins this game, I think that helps prepare his image. Or if it's Mac Jones who kind of figures it all out and kind of lives up to that first round hype and maybe gets back to where he was the first half of last year, all of a sudden the Patriots are a dangerous team. But also I wanted to talk to you about this. Did you guys see this? Every team in the AFC, NFC East are 500 or better. And every team but Washington right now is in their current conference playoff picture. What is going on? These were 2 of the weakest divisions in the league, in my opinion, but they got 7 of 8 teams in the playoffs right now.
Yeah, I think both these teams too, Jets and Pats, I think they both really need to win badly with the Bills not looking too great. Sure. I think it's more important for the Jets too. I don't know. I just don't like
more important for the Jets.
I think so, right? They got that lead, right? Did they not?
Yeah, Jets got a game up on New England.
I mean they're a game up, yeah.
This is the type of game with a couple of AFC teams that are kind of sleeping giants right now. If the Patriots lose this one, they're already the 7th seed. Then they get down to 500.
So, I think if the Jets don't make the playoffs, it's not that big of a deal. I think if the Pats don't, it's kind of scrambled up.
100%. So I actually think New England probably needs to get in. It's at home, so naturally, I kind of feels like it adds more levity to it. So. Yeah, all that to say, I'm the Jets. So Zach Wilson, please do not screw me over and make me look dumb. Anyways, let's move on to our 4 o'clock game. Another one that's going to hit close to home as JT's Minnesota Vikings coming off maybe the game of the decade. I mean, that Bills-Vikings game was insane. But this week they're getting back at home and actually getting points against the Dallas Cowboys. So JT, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, it's kind of strange. Looking at records, even the way we finish games, it's not a mistake. I don't care. The sample size is too big at this point. If you're winning that many 1-score games, it's on coaching, and our coaching is flipped. It's literally like last year we lost all the 1-score games with a certain coach. We switched the coach, we now win them. That's it. So it's a big enough sample size at this point. I like the value you get with us getting any points or even just money line at plus 100 it would probably be. Yeah, so That being said, I don't know. I'll probably bet it just for I like betting on my teams, so I'll probably do it. But as like a neutral better, I don't know, man. The Cowboys, they have our number typically. Kirk doesn't play well against the Cowboys. We lost to Cooper Rush last year on a primetime game. We got dragged by Cooper Rush. Like it wasn't just a loss, and this is why I like Cooper Rush, is because he just absolutely destroyed us. I was like, yo, this man's nice.
That game stayed close though, didn't it? Hold on, I'm about to look this up.
No, dude, it was not close. Like they beat us. They dominated the entire game. So yeah, Cooper Rush dominated us last year. It's just not a good matchup, man. We historically aren't great against Cowboys. Also, this year I like us more on the road. I feel like we don't play great at home. I think we play better on the road. Something just kind of weird. I don't know. It's a weird kind of game. I can see why the Cowboys are getting the points, just being a Vikings fan. I am waiting for some respect on the Vikings to come eventually. I mean, beating the Bills, I'm like, come on, dude. Yeah, no, but I also get it at the same time. With it just being kind of, I don't know, the Cowboys are a very rounded roster. So it's not like you can go into any game and be like, oh yeah, the Cowboys are definitely going to lose. So I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at. It's a whole lot of nothing, but that's what I got.
No, and I actually looked it up. So it was 20-16 last year. So that relatively was close, but Cooper Rush did throw for 325 and a pair of tubs. So
that's what I'm saying. Like,
that's kind of wild. So anyway, I'm with you on the point of understanding why Dallas is favored, because I look at the last week's games. The Vikings beat the Bills, yes, but it took Josh Allen doing the one thing you can't do as a quarterback at the 1 yard line, and it took Justin Jefferson going super sane, literally down the stretch, and it took a myriad of other things. And I mean, I think the Bills got a couple of generous bounces, quite literally, maybe on the Gabe Davis catch, got a generous bounce on that one. So, luck breaks both ways, but it took a lot for Minnesota to win that game. Meanwhile, Dallas is coming off a loss where they just didn't really feel like they were playing at 100%. Rodgers kind of turned it back a little bit. The Dallas defense was kind of due for one of those games where it's like, all right, they let up some big plays. They got beat. So now it feels like it's time for them to regress down to the mean and actually have a good performance. I'm still, the first bet I made this week was Vikings plus 1.5, and then their money line right after. And then I'll do Minnesota minus 2.5, because I think this game does stay close. But I'm with the Vikings. After they win that game, if y'all's fan base is not going bananas when they sound the horn and go skull at the beginning of that game, I will never watch Vikings game ever again, especially if they're at home, because I will be that disappointed. It'll be blasphemous if they do not, support their team after that type of a win. So that being said, that's kind of an emotional aspect to it. X's and O's, I think this game comes down to Kevin O'Connell and Dan Quinn. Dallas DC, Kevin O'Connell, the OC, basically also the head coach for the Vikings. Who calls a better game, right? Who maximizes, their talent? And then also Micah Parsons versus PFF's new number 1 graded tackle, Christian Darrisaw. Like, Parsons has got a quiet.
That's something to watch, though. Darrisaw's in concussion protocol. So, yeah, he was out with a concussion last game. And you definitely noticed it down the stretch. Von Miller had some nice wins against us in the third and fourth quarter. Yeah, Darrisaw is huge. If he's back, I'm feeling okay about it. Yeah. If he's not, Parsons might have a field day. So I know you're going to get into it, but
yeah. So that's just if we get to see Darrisaw versus Parsons, because this is the type of game if Parsons comes out and dominates, then it's like, hey, he's a superstar, he does his thing. But if Darrisaw blanks, we could be talking about one of the best tackles in the league at his second year in the league. So could be an interesting narrative moving forward. But Mason, we waited too long. What do you think about this one, man?
No, you're good, man. Yeah, what a game last weekend. I think this game comes down to quarterback play too, along with the coaches. This might be a game where I live bet. I don't know. I'm not liking the spread because it makes no sense that the Cowboys are favored here on the road. So that makes me like Dallas a little bit with the line not making too much sense. But I will go off the record and say, after watching that masterpiece performance by Justin Jefferson, I do now have him above Jamar Chase.
So he's wide receiver 1 in the league, dog.
I will. Yes, he has made that leap for me. Dude, he's just unbelievable.
I like to hear.
Yep.
And you know what? If Minnesota right after that game, if literally on the plane back, they're not like, hey, here's your contract extension. What do you think? Like,
bro, that's what I'm waiting on. I'm like, dude, give this man whatever bag he wants. If you need as a quarterback to put it in the air, he's coming down with it. All right, just give him a bag.
And it's tough right now because the Vikings have no leverage, and give him the contract because it doesn't matter. Like if Tyreek's making 30 a year, I think Justin Jefferson could go in there and be like 32.5. Yeah, that's where I'm starting.
Dude, apparently in the huddle before that 4th down throw, Kirk told Justin Jefferson, he's like, "Yo, I might just throw it up to you and hope for the best." Like that's what they're. So
Dude, that's the
amazing,
difference between Kirk this year and last year too, with the change in coaching. Last year with Zimmer, like it would like you'd have to pull teeth to have Kirk throw one up on a 50-50 ball.
Right.
This year, O'Connell actually supports him and is just like, hey, do what you got to do, man. And Kirk, he's just been slinging it. There was another pass that he had late in the game where like dude was in his face and he just did like a pirouette and just threw it.
Yeah. In overtime, he was
not throwing that last year.
Had 1 foot underneath him, just tossed it. Justin Jefferson was kind of wide open, so that helped.
But like, he's
like
not
just to have
throwing
the
that last year.
confidence in that throw.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean, that was one of the things. So like during the offseason, you know, there was a whole lot of, you know, rhetoric building that like, okay, well, Kwesi Adofo-Mensah is doing a lot of the same moves that Rick Spielman did, you know, trading back, you know, getting more asset, same draft approach. But I was like, well, I think the difference is going to be, you know, Kevin O'Connell's coming from LA where Matt Stafford just led the league in interceptions. But when push came to shove in the playoffs, they had each other's backs.
They won games.
They generated big plays.
Right.
So I was like, just getting Kirk Cousins to come out of his shell might be worth the change in and of itself. Plus, I think some, you know, more analytically driven, you know, fourth down decisions, taking advantage of each and every possession plays a factor as well. So I did want to hit on that, as well as what you're talking about, JT, at the start. Good teams find ways to win close games. We're former athletes. Like, if you're a former athlete, what is the number one thing a coach has told you? Like, good teams win close games, bad teams lose. And it's just how it works. So changing that little bit of a, you know, in the coaching staff and also in the front office, I think that could be enough to ignite that type of difference. And, you know, part of it's maybe a confidence thing. So I'm with y'all. Big on the Vikings, and that game was just absolutely insane last week. Again, Justin Jefferson should get whatever money, whatever contract he wants. And, you know, I'm pretty sure every Vikings fan across the globe would be okay with it. But anyways, let's leave this one and head on to our Sunday night preview now. It's the Chiefs taking on the Chargers, man. And like I kind of teased it off the top, I'm going with the Chargers here. They're getting 6 points, and I know Kansas City, they're number one team in my power rankings. I get it. I'm ready to be told why I'm wrong. But, you know, I look at last week, and this is an emotional aspect. This is not even talking X's and O's, but what reason did Carolina really beat Atlanta? And for what reason did Washington really beat Philadelphia? Division games are weird. Like, Washington won that game off an 8-leg parlay. They needed to control time of possession 2/3 to 1. They needed Quez Watkins to fumble the ball for no reason. They needed A.J. Brown to be sub 100% and then have a pass go in and out of his hands. And they needed all that. And they needed, you know, the roughing the passer at the end of the game. They needed a bunch to go right. That's division game football. So they played close in week 2. The Chiefs pull out. I think this is the Chargers' opportunity to kind of bounce back, get that one back. They get back to an even split. Also, they're at home. They need this game to even have a chance at the AFC West, but also the AFC playoff picture in and of itself, because right now, it's AFC East teams that make up the wild card. So This is a must-win game for the Chargers at home. And also, the biggest component to why I like them, they're healthy. Mike Williams, I have to think Keenan Allen's been waiting to get back in this one, and maybe even Joey Bosa. So the team's getting healthy at the right spot. Mason, what do you think about this one?
Yeah, dude. Leading back to the Keenan Allen news, dude, he better freaking play.
Limited participant today, but that's a step in the right direction.
Dude, I think I might be with you. I think I'm on the Chargers side here, and I think they like win outright too. I definitely like how they're getting the points here. You know, being at home, if they get their weapons back. I didn't watch too much of that Sunday night game or Monday night game, whenever they played the 49ers. Sunday night, I didn't watch too much of that game. I didn't really pay attention to it, but obviously they lost. But I'm really high on the 49ers, so I definitely think this is a big bounce back game for the Chargers. But yeah, not much analytics for me.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
Well, hey, JT, I know you and I were watching it, and before I have you open up on why you think Kansas City is going to win this game, because I feel like that's where you're going. Did Herbert not look at least a little bit healthier? Didn't he look a little bit more Justin Herbert that we saw week 1 and 2 pre, rib injury?
For about 2 drives, yeah.
Oh, sure.
It looks all right for about 2 drives.
Sure.
Oh, dude. Mason, it's funny that you said no analytics, because that's the only way you can look at the Chargers to win this game. So, all right, anytime I can get the Chiefs under a touchdown, I'm taking it. Okay. I think that should be league wide to me. I think I've talked about this before, right? If the Chiefs aren't playing the Bills or the Eagles at this point, and you can get them for under a touchdown and an extra point, I like it. Chargers scored 16 last week. That's not going to cut it.
But without their top 2 wide receivers, my man.
No, I know. And that's I'll get there. Okay. Now, that being said, I don't know that I would bet it, right? And the only reason why is kind of what you guys were hinting at. And it's dumb and it's not analytical to say, but like the Chargers do need it more. If they have any hope, they have to win this game. They have to get it done. and they do have the Mike Williams and Keenan Allen both being limited participants today as a Wednesday. Should be they'll be fine. They'll play. If they're participating at all, they're playing. To me,
Mike Williams went through pregame on Sunday night, so
yeah. So they're gonna play. That's a huge difference. I mean, if the Chargers are fully healthy, had the season we thought they were gonna have, this line's probably at 3.5, something like that. So I don't know. I think I'm not gonna play either side. I don't think. And it's dumb, like I said. I want to say Chiefs, but it's one of those situations where they really do need it more, and that's how the NFL works for some reason. Sometimes, right?
But I mean, on that point, in what edge on paper does the Washington Commanders have over the Philadelphia Eagles? That's the most maddening thing. I put in hours of work into analyzing and trying to be as smart as I can be. And then
the Eagles are
control time of possession 2/3 to 1.
The Eagles know their weakness, right? It's stopping the run. They signed Linval Joseph today. Try and help that, beef it up a little bit.
Davis is back, yeah.
They have to, because they were getting owned. I mean, let's be real. They were just getting.
Well, Brian Robinson averaged 3.1 yards per carry.
Bro, it doesn't matter. Brian Robinson had multiple carries over 5 yards. That's the first time that's happened this year.
And they were like 75% on third downs. Like that's how
I know, but they were just staying ahead of the chains. But what I can tell you is
exactly, totally.
The Commanders against the Vikings, just for an example, I was at the game. Brian Robinson's upside was 6 yards. Brian Robinson's upside against the Eagles was like 10 yards. So it was a big difference. I mean, Brian Robinson, he's not that great. I'm not a huge fan, but I don't know. I mean, they exposed that weakness. So I don't know. It's just one of those things. We're back to the Chiefs, but I don't think the Chiefs have any weakness. Kinda. But they I don't know. It's just a tough game, man. Like we already talked about divisional opponents. It's just tough.
Yeah, well, that's the reason I bring it up is because it drives me insane. Like I spend so much time trying to figure out who has the edge, right? And I'm obviously putting money where my mouth is, and then it's just like, for no reason, basically, a divisional game effect kind of comes into play. So I think that does come into the cards here for the Chargers. One of the other things I wanted to respond to, they scored 16 last week, but the San Francisco defense is significantly better than Kansas City's. Kansas City's got an okay defense, but I believe in that San Francisco unit. And again, plus now getting healthy, hopefully that turns this tide a little bit. Also, what I want to see from the Chargers is Derwin James taking out Travis Kelce, because there's games where that's his assignment, and then there's games where Derwin James is moving around. But I'd love to see, what Kansas City would do if their number one target was taken away. If you took away Travis Kelce, who's the next guy? Like, that's just a question I've been kind of waiting to see.
Previous matchups, I mean, I could be wrong, but it doesn't feel like he gets wiped out. Like, for some reason, Derwin James, like Travis has been able to produce against him time and time again. And nobody else does. Nobody else does.
Back to Derwin's rookie year, I remember he had one huge game against Kelce where he kind of made him neutralized, and that was when the fire got stoked for Derwin James, because it was like, look at what he can do. This is what he can be. So, but for the most part of the last 2 years, one, injuries, that's a part of it, but then two, they've been moving him around. They've been playing him like a true safety. He's not just been Travis Kelce's kind of answer. So we'll have to wait and see, but I'm interested to see what would that answer be. Also, JT, we got to throw it to you. You're hot on these Sunday night footballs. Sunday Night Football first TD scores. We didn't hit last week with Debo, but Kelce kind of feels a little obvious here. I do like to go Kelce for the Chiefs, but I don't know. Something's telling me Kadarius Toney this week, or Austin Eckler. You go chalky with the Chargers getting their first drive. But any early leanings?
Oh man, that's a good question.
I'm putting you on the spot here. Let
me think about it. I'll think about it. I'll have one.
All right. We'll put it in the description down below when you watch it. Come back on Sunday and check it out. So perfect. Awesome. Well, that'll take us to our fifth and final game to preview Monday Night Football. San Francisco 49ers. We were just singing their praise about their defense, heading to the Arizona Cardinals. So for 49ers and Cardinals, I think they're just two teams kind of heading in different directions. I mean, we'll see Kyler Murray hopefully back this week, and then should get Marquise Hollywood-Brown in 2 weeks back once they're 2 weeks time after they're done with the bye. So we'll see. But I just think, even though it was ugly, I like San Francisco here, but I don't really like them plus or getting 8 points or having to lay 8 points. I like them as a teaser leg. This could be a team that you move down to 2 and you feel a little bit more comfortable about it. It is always kind of risky playing those, road favorites, especially when it's, a 2-score point advantage. So -2 makes you feel a little easier about making that play. But one of the plays I actually threw out was taking them down to -2 and then over. I think it would be 37.5, 38.5, something like that, maybe. But I'm not sold on that. It's not my lock of the week for a reason. So Mason, let me hear what you think about this one.
Yeah, definitely like the teaser route. I think 8 is a pretty difficult number with both of these teams. Divisional matchup, I think I like the 49ers here. Haven't been sold on the Cardinals all year. Now you got Kyler Murray, questionable. So you got a question mark there at the quarterback position. I really like the 49ers team now that they added Christian McCaffrey. I just think they're just, well-rounded. I think not Travis Kelce. I think George Kittle gets going a little bit this week. I think they win. I don't know if they win by 8. So if you're going to take the points, I like Cardinals getting 8, but I do like that teaser route.
And JT, I want to hear your thoughts on this game, but let's just say there's a world where you're not thinking Arizona's the move here. Tell people why they should bet the Cardinals. Tell me why the Cardinals maybe can pull this
Why
off.
you should bet the Cardinals? I got nothing for you. They're terrible.
I think that kind of says it all. Yeah,
dude. No, I think. Oh man, to bet the Cardinals, man, that's tough. I just think they're bad. I think they're bad everywhere.
Yeah.
The only reason you bet the Cardinals here is like regression to the mean for both sides, if you want to argue that. And then D-Hop is still a dog.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. New.
Yeah, it's more D-Hop, but like, man, a receiver isn't worth that much typically. I mean, D-Hop is that guy. Like he is like that, but man, that's tough. And I would say a receiver is not worth that much with a quarterback who plays like Kyler plays, or even a backup, right? So those two situations, if you have a connection like Rodgers to Devontae Adams, that's worth a ton of points, right? Just historically. But I mean, Kyler to Hopkins hasn't really been worth a whole lot of points in my opinion since they've been together. It's a decent connection, not great. Just the roster of the 49ers against the roster of the Cardinals, man, it's not even close. It's like every position group is better, and it's not close. So,
which leads us back to our theme of this episode is like division games. Like this one doesn't make any sort of sense.
I'm not. Yeah, no, 8 points, man. That's.
I can't touch the full spread. I'll think about the teaser leg. It's not a leg that's in my lock of the week, so I think I'm good.
Like a stepped up, if they are offering like a stepped up parlay or something like that,
like a 50% boost on Monday Night Football,
or anything or something. If you have certain kind of, if you want to throw 49ers money line into a parlay with a couple other money lines, something like that.
Sure.
That's kind of how I would go. I think the 49ers are an immensely better team. It's just, I don't know. It's weird. It's another weird kind of, interdivision. We talked about that. So, yeah, and 8 points is a lot. I don't know. In the NFL, man, I don't like betting anything more than 6.5, to be honest.
Sure.
Just, I'm not comfortable with betting people scoring or beating teams by that more than that, to be honest.
Yeah, and I mean, especially when your quarterback's Jimmy Garoppolo, right? I mean, he's the main catalyst to why they only beat the Chargers by 3.
He can throw the Cardinals back into the game.
I mean, he could totally pull an Andy Dalton. We've seen him do what Andy Dalton did on that Thursday Night Football game. Yeah, so I'm with y'all. I think the 49ers are a better team. So maybe, but again, doing this with a divisional game is really, you're asking for trouble, especially when it's a primetime game. But, like the Ravens are double-digit point favorites. So maybe you could go like 49ers, Ravens, and then I'm trying to think of another lopsided spread. Eagles money line, those 3, and you get close to that plus 100-ish mark. I'd have to draw it up to actually know for certain, but maybe that if you're looking for a safe 3-teamer, that might be your. But again, division game, prime time. I don't know how Arizona would do it because I don't know. Vance Joseph's doing a lot with not a whole lot. I want to give a shout out here to Byron Murphy. He's one of the most underrated corners in football right now because he's moved from playing slot only to playing on the outside, and he held his own against Devontae Adams. He's gone toe-to-toe with some of the best dudes in the league, and I just want to give him a shout out. But it's him, Budda Baker, J.J. Watt still playing okay. Zach Allen's fine. You have 2 first-rounders at linebacker who are okay. There's just not a lot to work with. So, yeah, I'm with you. The Cardinals are just rough. Sorry, Arizona fans. I tried to think about something that could inspire hope, but I got nothing for you. That will take us out of our 5-game preview, and now we give people our locks of the week. And this is just an opportunity for us to give back to you all. We appreciate you checking out today's video. If you stuck with us this long, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, all that fun stuff. Give us your plays for this weekend. We may tell you, but this is when we return the favor in all its glory by giving you our locks of the week. I'm at 500. JT's not far behind. And then Mason, he's due, and he's going to make you some cheddar here this week. So I'll go ahead and open things up. I'll go with Minnesota, and this is a teaser play. Vikings out to plus 7.5. They keep games close. I mean, if I need to say anything else, I mean, they're a good football team. They have 1 loss this year. I mean, there you go. There's your second fact. And then the Raiders plus 9. I know we're a pretty anti-Vegas podcast or show, whatever you want to call us now, but look, I said last week the Titans Broncos, neither team was going to score 20, and I was dead on the money there. And pat my back, victory lap, whatever. The Broncos are never beating anybody by 10 points. Actually, there's only one in this season where these two teams have gone over 21 points, and it was when they played each other. So look at the entire season versus that one matchup. Take the bigger sample. I'm gonna go with the Raiders +9. You could also bet straight up. Never mind, I'll get to that at the honorable mention. Sorry, I'm just eating up time. JT, what's your lock?
My lock is going to be the Eagles. I believe they're on the road against the Colts. Eagles money line, two-teamer. Eagles money line, and the Bengals also on the road against the Steelers.
So is that a two-teamer, or are you giving out two recommendations?
No, two-teamer at -102. So you play both money lines at -102. Basically get a -102 plus 100 is basically the same thing. So even money, two, in my opinion, heavy favorites to win those games.
All right, Mason, you got 40 seconds to play with here. What's your lock?
Yeah, man. I'm gonna go with the two-teamer. I know I said I was gonna go with the straight bet, but I can't do that.
The profit of plus money plays. No, bring it to me.
So I got a two-teamer at +104. All right, hear me out. Packers money line Thursday night. They get it done in Lambeau in the cold weather, and then Bills money line. No way they lose. So Packers and the Bills both money line.
All right.
I don't care if it's 6 feet of snow. Doesn't matter. Does not matter.
Beat the clock by 11 seconds. Yeah, so now we can throw out some honorable mentions. I do think the snow element in that game makes it kind of interesting, but some of my other favorite plays, Bengals -4. Take it from a Steelers fan. No shot, homie. Like, Minka Fitzpatrick out multiple weeks. He had that pick six, I think, first play of the season. He's not playing. He also had a block kick. Yeah, no shot. And also, we're coming off a win, so we're due for a logical bounce back this week. One of my other favorite plays, this is what I started to say, straight up the under in that Broncos game, the Broncos-Raiders game. You could also make that into a teaser leg. You could go Raiders +9.
41? That's tough.
Again, those two teams have only scored 21 points or more in one game is when they played each other. So I'll go with the larger sample there. You could also go Raiders teaser +9 and then under 47.5. That's a bigger number. So that could be another move and one I think I'll probably play here in just a moment. But any other honorable mentions for the good people?
Bears at Falcons. If you're riding the Bears train, +145 money line. If you think you can get it done against the Falcons, stay hot on offense. That's something to look at just for the value of 145.
Sure.
Or +145. Otherwise, man, the Giants -3 doesn't sound right at home against the Lions. That's tough.
I agree.
But then again, I don't know. That's a strange number. That one you might want to just stay away from because it doesn't look right.
I played Saquon's rushing prop. It hit just after halftime. That could be another good game as the Lions have really struggled against the run. Some other teaser legs I want to throw out. As you know, I'm just tasting the teasers this weekend pretty much all year long. But 49ers again down to -2. The Patriots-Jets total, you could bump it up to 44.5 and hit the under there. Again, I think that's a low-scoring game. And then the Eagles, yeah, they're on the road, and they're taking on the only coach in the NFL without a loss under his belt, and Jeff Saturday. But -1.5 is too good for me to turn down. So I'll probably have a teaser with them in it as well. Mason, any extra plays you want to toss out?
Yeah, just one. Because I was on it last week, but DraftKings hasn't put it out yet. The Justin Fields rushing prop. Just keep an eye on that to see what that number is at because he has hit that every single game this year. And both teams, Chicago and
let's say
Atlanta,
74.5. What are you thinking? If it's at 74.5.
Over. Both teams love to run the ball. I think it's going to hit.
Okay. I can get behind that. I mean, and also what linebackers keeping up with them for the Giants. I can see that. I can get behind that.
Yeah.
I also I'm interested to see what the number is because I don't have it yet. But CeeDee Lamb catches total. Minnesota's been weaker as a team this year defending against the slot. So if Dallas is
those underneath balls are there. They're there if you want them.
So I'm thinking maybe he just racks up a ton of catches. I'm not really worried about the yardage prop, but I like his catches play. It's probably 5.5, maybe 6.5. Given the matchup, I think I'll probably play the over one way or another. If it's at 6.5 and you're playing over, it's probably plus money too. So it's something to monitor throughout the rest of the week. But I don't have that total on me. But that's going to do it for our locks of the week segment. And I'm hoping to get over 500. JT has the opportunity to get to 500. And again, Mason's just going to make you some cash money with the plus money plays. It's what we do around here. It's just us giving back to the people. But that is going to do it for this episode of the Hurry Up Offense. Say thank you again for everybody checking out this week. Be sure to come back next week. We have another episode for you. Thanksgiving edition. We get to talk about a lot of Thursday football in that episode. But until then, Mason, JT, I'm TJ. We are signing off.